Okay, solve the system of equations. We have 3 equations with 3 letters. Call this a 3 by 3. But the trick is on this one, I'm going to solve using matrices. It's going to be way easier that way. I'm going to solve using matrices and technology. I'm going to show it with Desmos.com website, but you can also do it in the other video. I attached a gentleman doing it on the TI-84 graphing calculator if you have one of those. All right, so how do we do this with matrices? First off, you've got to make a big old matrix. You peel off each of these numbers, the 3, the -6, the 1, 3, -6, 1. You know, I should make this a little bigger. Let me do that. And then -1, +1, -1, bottom row 1 for x, -2 for y, and there's no z here, so that's plus 0z, isn't it? There's a 0 there where z should be. And then we have a matrix that's got x, y, and z. Whoops, that's not so nice. And that's equal to, whoops, back that up again. That's equal to, and then we have a matrix on the right side, which is the 3 numbers, 10, and -1, and 4. Okay, so I just rewrote these 3 equations with 3 letters as one big matrix equation. Now, the way that you solve this matrix equation is you have to multiply. You want to get the x, y, z alone, right? So let me kind of make things a little smaller. You want to get the x, y, z alone here. And so the way to do that is, whoops, to, here, let me rewrite it. I'm going to come on down here. I can make it a little smaller. And 3 -6, 1, -1, 1, -1, 1, -2, 0. And I'll put over here the other one. And 10 -1, 4. So the deal is, I want to get the x, y, z alone. So again, my whole goal is to get the x, y, z alone. I want to find out what it equals, right? It's like solving an equation for x. Imagine if you had 3x is 7 or whatever. What would you do to solve for x? You would just divide both sides by 3. That's kind of what we have, right? We have, if you look at it, we have a big old number times a big old x matrix equals a number. It's like number times x equals number. Number times x equals number. So think about it. We have it with matrices, but think about what you would do with regular numbers. You would just divide through by 3. That would cancel out, and you would have your answer. It's 7/3. So you think, oh, so maybe we should divide by the matrix. Well, kind of. How do we divide by matrices? Let's go back to the original question. We don't have, well, the way we divide, 3x equals 7, is we multiply by the reciprocal. That's what dividing really is. In other words, you multiply by 1/3. That's the same thing, because this is 3 over 1, and it cancels it out. And then this is 7 over 1, so it's 1 times 7 over 3 times 1. Same answer. Dividing by 3 is the same thing as multiplying by 1/3, which is the inverse of 3, isn't it? 1/3 is the inverse of 3. So you multiply by the inverse. So that's exactly what we do with the matrices. So I come up here and I go, okay, so I need to multiply by the inverse. So this is 3 minus 6, 1, minus 1, 1, minus 1, 1, minus 2, 0. Inverse. Yeah, I put an inverse on that. That's the inverse of the matrix. And whatever you do to one side, you have no choice but to do the same thing to the other side of the equation, right? So I've got to also go 3 minus 6, 1. This is the inverse again. Minus 1. So minus 1, 1, minus 1, 1, minus 2, 0. So I multiply both sides by the inverse matrix, and they cancel each other out. Just like the 1/3 and the 3 cancel each other out. That gets the x, or the xyz matrix, alone. So my answer is going to be over here on the right side. It's going to be whatever becomes of the inverse of that. Don't forget the -1 up there. The inverse of the red matrix times that matrix. I just need to multiply those with technology, and boom, I'll have my answers for X, Y, Z. So that's what we want to do. So now we go to technology. I'm going to go to a website, but you can, if you have the TI-84 graphing calculator, if you have one of those, the other video shows how to use that. I'm going to do it on Desmos. So again, I'm going to do what? I'm take the inverse of this matrix times this other matrix, and that'll be my answer. Let's go. So I'm going to go to Desmos matrix. Go. I'm going to search for Desmos matrix. My browser here. It's usually the first link that comes up, the Desmos matrix calculator. My browser's a little slow on my iPad here. There it is, the first link that comes up, Matrix Calculator Desmos. Click on that one. There it is. Make it a little larger here. So now we have to click New Matrix right in the middle. Now the first matrix we're going to put in is the 3 by 3. So I'll make this 3 rows, 3 columns, add. And just put in that first matrix. 3, -6. Whoops, I didn't finish that one. -6. The next one is 1. And then down here, -1, and 1, and -1, and 1, and -2, and 0. And that's what I'm going to hit enter in the lower right corner, enter, and it called it A. Perfect. Now I have to do another new matrix, and it's going to be B. It's going to be the right side, but this one, Matrix B, let me go back over here to Matrix B with you real quick. Matrix B, this one's going to be Matrix B. This one's Matrix A. So Matrix B is a 3 by 1, right? You go down first. It goes down 3 rows, 1 across. It's a 3 by 1. So going back over here, it's a 3. Let me move this back to the center. 3 by 1. Add. So there it is, a 3 by 1, and it is 10 and -1, 10, -1, 4, enter. So now I've got A and B stored, and so now on the right side I need A inverse times B. Enter. There's my 3 answers. 2, -1, -2. That's X, Y, Z. A inverse times B. A inverse times B. That's all you got to do. Come back over here. So I took A inverse times B, and I got the answer 2, -1, -2. So I found X, Y, and Z. As you can see, it matches the answers over there. The other video, so we did it with technology, and much easier way to solve 3 equations, 3 unknowns by a matrix, by matrices and technology. The other video will do it on the TI-84 graphing calculator if you have one of those.